Jimmy Kimmel recently had a meltdown at the Oscars, and now he is getting destroyed by people like Tim Pool, like Benny Johnson, and we're going to go over all of that in this video. But on stage at the Oscars, as Jimmy Kimmel was presenting an award, he had a meltdown over one of Donald Trump's Truth Social posts, which is just crazy that this guy lives so rent-free in these people's heads that they can't even get through an Oscars presentation without Jimmy Kimmel randomly bringing up one of Donald Trump's Truth Social posts. It's pretty wild. But anyway, in this video here, we have Tim Pool absolutely obliterating Jimmy Kimmel and, you know, the absolute rent-freeness, I guess would be the word, of Donald Trump in these people's heads. Let's get into this video from Tim Pool roasting Jimmy Kimmel's presentation at the Oscars here.
So apparently the Oscars happened. I didn't care. I think most people don't care anyway. But Jimmy Kimmel got really mad because Trump cared. And Trump truthed, that is, he posted on social media, that there is no worse host. It was actually a really hilarious moment. And the best part of this is that, so apparently live at the Oscars, Jimmy Kimmel reads a post from Trump himself and actually gets a laugh out of the audience. I'll just play the clip for you. Then we can talk about the disgusting nature that is the Academy Awards. Jimmy gets roasted. And then, I mean, there's no real point in him reading this. But the real issue and the real story is not Trump. And it's not the Oscars themselves. It's who the Oscars gave the awards to. And apparently, Poor Things, starring Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe, Emma Stone.
If you enjoy videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and push the notification bell. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Won a bunch of awards. And I just felt to myself, this movie epitomizes exactly what they are. If you haven't seen the movie Poor Things, I don't recommend it. It is quite possibly one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long or whatever. It's long. Not the longest. And it's, let's just call it adult content. It's not a movie. There's no movie in this. It is random words said by people. The acting is apocalyptic. And it's, no, and hold on. Now, many of you may be saying, wow, I really don't want to watch this. But there is a whole lot of sex with Emma Stone, and they show it all. Maybe that's why they like the movie. Look, I get it. If you want to watch that kind of stuff to not get your rocks off or whatever, you do what you want to do. Whatever. But if I want to watch a movie, I'm like, I want to see a story and be entertained. Congratulations, Oscars. Now, I guess other things won awards too, but we'll talk about that as well. Let me play this clip of Jimmy Kimmel for you. Oh, okay. This is super quiet. Yeah, okay. Then I'm not going to play it because...
Don't worry, guys. I got you. I'll play the one on Benny Johnson's Twitter account here. This is Jimmy Kimmel having his little meltdown about Donald Trump's Truth Social post during the Oscars. This is a tweet from Benny Johnson and says, "Triggered Jimmy Kimmel reads Donald Trump's Truth Social post live at the Oscars." Let's check out this clip and then we'll get back into Tim Pool's reaction here.
Hi, everyone. I was just, doing this show is not about me, and I appreciate you having me. It's really about you and Emma and all these great actors and actresses and filmmakers. But I was told we have like an extra minute, and I'm really proud of something. I was wondering if I could share it with you. I just got a review, and has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less-than-average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed-up but cheap ABC talent, George Slopanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Blah, blah, blah. Make America great again. Okay, now.
I've never in my life seen someone live more rent-free in people's head, in a group of people, a pretty large group of people's heads, than Donald Trump when it comes to Jimmy Kimmel and these woke weirdos. Like this person says it right here. Trump lives rent-free inside the head of libs 24/7. 100%.
See if you can guess which former president just posted that on Truth. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still... Isn't it past your jail time?
It's funny because you guys get the joke. It's funny because the sitting president, the guy that they all voted for, his regime is throwing Donald Trump in jail because he's scared that Donald Trump is going to win. And he can do that, apparently. But if it was the other way around and Donald Trump was using the DOJ to throw his political opponents in jail, oh, dude, it would be all hell would be breaking loose. But it's funny whenever his side does it. It's just it's a funny joke at the Oscars. It's crazy the world that we're living in right now.
It's focused on the important stuff for sure. Before we give out the final award, did anyone not get a chance to give a speech? We do have some time. If you have anything you want to say, just line up right here. We'll make sure everybody gets a chance to talk. Now, to present our final award of the evening.
Nobody cares. That's where you cut the clip off because nobody cares about the actual Oscars and who's winning these awards or anything like that. Anyway, back to Tim Pool shredding Jimmy Kimmel and that little meltdown that he had about Trump's Truth Social post. You could tell it really hurt his feelings too. Jimmy Kimmel, he would not be bringing that up if it didn't really hurt his feelings, if it didn't strike a chord. It hurt his feelings, man. Trump is living absolutely rent-free in Jimmy Kimmel and the rest of their heads. Let's check out Tim Pool's reaction to the whole thing.
You know what? I want to say this too, as well, I got you here. X has a problem with the audio levels of their videos, but maybe it's just the people posting, because for whatever reason, I go on YouTube, the audio is normalized. I go on X, everyone's videos are super quiet. And you probably notice it when I play videos off of X on this show. But here we are. I'll read it for you. Jimmy Kimmel closed out the Academy Award Sunday. Before the final award for Best Picture, he took to the stage to read, he says, a former president said something. Has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC talent, in quotes, George Slopinopoulos. He would make everyone on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Also, a really bad, politically correct show tonight. And for years, disjointed, boring, and very unfair. Why don't they just give the Oscars to those that deserve them? Maybe that way their audience and TV ratings will come back from the depths, make America great again. I love that. George Slopinopoulos. Look, man, during the State of the Union, Trump posted on Instagram that Snapchat filter video of Biden with like a chihuahua head, and it's just funny. It's funny. He's ragging on these out-of-touch people we have nothing in common with. And this is where we are. Just when Trump also called the awards show a really bad politically correct show, disjointed, boring, and unfair. The Post-Mano says, just when you thought Jimmy Kimmel's jokes about Robert Downey Jr. couldn't get any worse, Kimmel appeared to skip over the part of Trump's post where he said, why don't they just give the Oscars to those that deserve them? Maybe that way their audience and TV ratings will come back. The former host of The Man Show, who was previously dressed in blackface and made degrading gestures towards women, did not mention Trump by name, but asked the audience to guess which former president just posted the comment. He thanked Trump for watching and retorted, isn't it past your jail time? The comedian has a history of adding political commentary during hosting gigs, blah, 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 blah. You know why Jimmy Kimmel did this? Jimmy Kimmel mentioned Donald Trump because it's the only way he can get anyone to talk about the Oscars. And
exactly right. That's why I said, Benny Johnson here on this tweet that I just showed. Why do you think the only clip that's going viral from the Oscars is when Jimmy Kimmel talks about Donald Trump? Because that's all they have. That's literally all they have. If they don't talk about politics and make stupid political opinions known and talk about Donald Trump and roast Donald Trump for, getting arrested and being in trial because their current president that they voted for put him in that for no other reason other than he's scared that he's going to lose the next one. If they didn't do that, they have nothing. They have no content. They have no virality. They have zero relevance.
He knows it. For the longest time, it started when Trump announced he was running for president. I mean, I got to be honest. It started a lot earlier than that. Donald Trump generates attention. We get it. And so where are we today? These people, long past the era of Trump's presidency, because maybe there's one coming up, still are desperate to invoke the president's name to get attention. Former president, I know. But we call former presidents Mr. President, so calm down. The Oscars, you know what? Let's actually do this fact check. Let's see what were the Oscars ratings. Because I think they're just really, really bad. They are culturally irrelevant. And let's see, peak audience of 1 million. Is that it? ITV's Oscars broadcast brings in peak audience of over 1 million. Interesting. So that was in the UK. Hey, wow, more power to you. 1 million people in the UK, but do we have? I don't think. Okay, here we go. 22 hours ago. Let's pull up this right here. Let's take a look at how the Oscars have fallen. Then we'll talk about Poor Things. I'll give you a review, sort of. The show's record viewership in 1998, Titanic, 55 million viewers. Man, those were the days, huh? Those were the days. Where are we at today?
Yeah, those were the days, and then they started with the Oscars so white stuff. Remember that? Like a few years ago, I think that was like 2019, 2018. They started saying the Oscars so white, like the hashtag Oscars so white, because all of the Oscar winners were white people. You know, it kind of makes sense because most of the people in Hollywood are white. Doesn't that kind of make sense? Most of the people acting in these movies that are nominated are white. But they started with the Oscars so white hashtag, and then I think it was the next year, like the same year, where Parasite won everything, like Parasite, and then the director for Parasite, he won like every single award, and then maybe like Taika Waititi won a couple because they didn't want to give it to any white people. Like that was the only purpose of that. their only goal with that Oscars was to not give any awards to white people. That was it, and they accomplished their goal. Ever since then, it's been completely downhill because you know they're not giving it to the people who are most deserving. They're giving it to the most diverse group of people that they possibly can. And you can see what Tim Pool is about to talk about right here with this graph. You see the viewership going way down.
Oh my God. Look at this. So you have 1960, 45.8 million. And then I think you have here, yeah. So this is what is the ratings versus viewers? Okay, well, okay, so I see ratings, whatever that means. Actual viewer numbers, the biggest, 1998. I see. So ratings is comparable to other shows, I guess, other networks. So it looks like the total viewers for Titanic, 1998, or when Titanic was the big movie, 55 million. Well, I gotta say, good on them for reviving. I mean, the worst was in 2021 with 10 million, which is crazy because of COVID. Then they came back to 16, and in 2023, they had 18. So you know what? Hey, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. I'm sure Jimmy Kimmel is grateful that he can mention Donald Trump's name and help boost those numbers. I didn't watch it. I assume some of you did, but in a nation of, 330 million people, this decline means something. I'll tell you what it means. It's actually quite amazing to see that in 2020, that's COVID, it was 23 million. You would have expected more. 2014, there were 43 million viewers, and it has just dropped off rapidly. And I'll tell you why. It is the fragmenting of American culture. With shows like mine and many other internet-based commentators, pundits, influencers, etc., people now have a near infinite selection of people to choose from. I made this prediction back in like 2011 when I said that fame will likely not exist in the future. And I had these...
That's actually very true. I was saying the same thing for years as well. I think a ton of people were saying the same thing. The days of the movie star are basically over. Like, there's not... Back in the day, you could have movies who just starred a certain actor or actress, and like their star power alone would make sure that the movie wouldn't flop. Nowadays we have very, very large names acting in these Marvel films, and they're flopping. Like, they're losing money, a lot of them, like millions and millions, sometimes like tens of millions of dollars they're losing at the box office. And the days of the star power, the celebrity, like the actual movie star, they're over. And the days of people actually watching things such as the Oscars and other establishment funded events like that, they're over, because like Tim Pool was saying right there, we now have infinite selection. We now have infinite options for what it is that we choose to watch. So if we don't like the smallest little thing, like if you don't like the smallest little thing with my content, you can go watch someone else's. Like, there's nothing stopping you. You have infinite options. If you don't like the smallest little thing with the Oscars, which, I mean, there's not much to like when it comes to the Oscars. It's people who think they're better than you presenting awards to other people who think they're better than you and who don't even deserve the awards. And there's people in there who are genuinely humble, good people who will not get the awards because they have certain values, they have certain beliefs. Oh, they look a certain way. If they're a white male, they won't get the award. And it's like, why would you ever want to watch a group of people who think they're better than you are lesser than them, give awards to other people who think that you are lesser than them? Like, nobody wants to watch that anymore. And you see that reflected in the ratings. You see that reflected in the viewership. And now instead, most people want to watch YouTubers that they like, YouTubers that they enjoy watching, YouTubers that they agree with their values. They like their opinions. They like just who they are as people. Like, they like hanging out with them. And nobody likes hanging out with Jimmy Kimmel or anybody who's at the Oscars. You'd rather watch YouTubers like myself or Tim Pool or whatever the case is. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about the Jimmy Kimmel meltdown at the Oscars, about the Trump Truth Social tweet. I thought that was really hilarious that, number one, he cared. It struck a chord enough for him for Jimmy Kimmel to go on stage and mention the Donald Trump tweet or Truth Social post. And number two, the fact that the viewership was a lot higher because of that, and only because of that. That's the only reason why people cared about the Oscars. That's the only reason why there's clips going viral from the Oscars. That's the only reason why 2 days after people are still talking about Jimmy Kimmel and the Oscars, is because Jimmy Kimmel went on stage and mentioned Donald Trump. Let me know what you're thinking about this whole situation. What do you think of Tim Pool's reaction and the rest of it? If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.